anti-corporate Occupy movement that flared up in the U.S. 3 months ago has spread across the globe. In the British capital, protesters are growing in numbers while claiming commitment to nonviolence. But the authorities may not make the same commitment, as Ivor Bennett now reports.
Tents, dreadlocks, even didgeridoos. But are the Occupy London protesters really terrorists? The city's police force seems to think so. It sent a letter to banks and businesses in the financial district warning of the terror threat posed by Occupy activists. It puts them in the same bracket as Al-Qaeda.
Well, I'd say to anybody who believes it to come here and have a look for themselves and see that we're a totally peaceful protest. It's preposterous to say that.
The backlash of criticisms forced the police to admit its wording was too strong. But it stands by its warning to big businesses to remain vigilant, issuing this statement.
We've seen crime linked to protests in recent weeks, notably around groups entering office buildings, and with that in mind we continue to brief key trusted partners on activity linked to protests.
This is the building in question, Occupy's so-called Bank of Ideas. Activists moved in here nearly 3 weeks ago. It had been empty for months. The apparent terrorists now use it for meetings and lectures on how to solve the current crisis. They can even count celebrity backers and politicians amongst their guests.
I think a huge number of people want to see a different kind of economic system. That's what people here stand for, and I wanted to come and lend solidarity to that.
The UK's complicated laws on squatting mean the owners still haven't been able to evict their new uninvited tenants. Since the building wasn't in use, the activists don't see why they should leave.
Is it fair, though, to occupy private property?
Is it fair that there's nearly 1 million buildings empty out there in the UK and people freeze to death every winter? I would counter that with.
So far, this is the only building protesters have occupied. It belongs to UBS, but was empty before it was taken over. As the Swiss banks seek an eviction order for this building, they're beefing up security at its main offices just across the street as they fear the protesters could spread.
Both UBS and the Financial Services Authority refuse to comment, but they're clearly heeding police advice. Security's tight in the Money District. A small group of people recently stormed the offices of a mining company during the national strike. They claimed to be part of the Occupy movement. Those here, though, deny any links, but that hasn't stopped police tarring them with the same brush.
It's just unfortunate that some people have done this, and it's causing police attention. And it's going to label us as bad people.
Well, you always get a few bad apples, don't you, here in any organisation. And they've said, well, look, they're all like it then, aren't they? And it's just not true.
The original Occupy camp hopes to keep its protest peaceful, evicting anyone using its name as an excuse for violence. They might not be Al-Qaeda, but any minority prepared to step the wrong side of the law could play straight into police hands. Ivor Bennett, RT, London.